Hello everybody, Wolfpack here, and welcome to something a little bit different on the channel. Today I will be conducting an interview with Bracer, the lone developer on the game Battleship Command. For those of you that are unaware, Battleship Command is a game that was recently announced to be published by Microprose. This game puts you in command of the battleship Scharnhorst. You'll be taking command of the battleship and task forces and heading out into the North Atlantic and Arctic to hunt down and destroy enemy convoys and surface ships if you think you can handle them. I've been following this game for quite a while, and the prospect of it being published by Microprose is quite exciting, so I went ahead and hit up Bracer to see if he would be interested in an interview, and indeed he was. I tried to get answered a lot of the questions I saw just around the internet regarding this announcement, so I hope you all enjoy. So, starting with my first question here, I quickly wanted you to just give an introduction to Battleship Command and what were some of the inspirations for the game?
Absolutely. So, Battleship Command is a battleship simulator, and you play the role as a captain of a Scharnhorst class battleship during the Second World War. And it is, very much a vehicle simulator that I've simulated many of the systems on the battleship, like the fire control systems and the fire control computers and a lot of the propulsion systems like the boilers, turbines, and also a few other systems that were developed during the Second World War, like the radar. And you'll play the game in a first-person perspective, so you'll walk around on the ship and give orders to your crew and choose where you want to go. It's quite an open world, so you can travel anywhere in the North Atlantic, the Mediterranean, and the Baltics. And,
okay.
All these systems that are simulated, we also have user interfaces for them, so you can actually take control of the fire director for the main guns, or the fire director for the anti-air guns, and also a little bit manage the engine systems.
Speaking of the engine systems, how in-depth can we get with managing the engine systems?
So I have all the 12 boilers simulated with steam pressure individually per boiler, and they also take input, so to speak, with oil and air that is needed to burn the water and to boil the water to generate steam. And this steam is actually sent to the turbines, so the turbines also get steam as an input and gives you an output in the shape of RPMs, which gets sent to the shafts then, which ends up with the spinning propeller. So there's a whole engine line simulated there. So if one boiler breaks down, you will lose power on one of the engine lines. And so all the values are there, and you can control some of the values at the moment, like the main turbine throttle, and you can also control the oil pressure of each boiler. But most of that stuff is done by the crew.
Okay, makes sense.
Automatically by giving a speed order, but you can take control, because in some cases you might want to travel more fuel efficiently, or if you think you can do it better than the crew, then you have the chance to do it.
Sure. What ended up inspiring you to make a Battleship Command? And what made you choose Scharnhorst? Can add that on top.
Yeah. So, I've seen people write loud hunter in some comments, and that's actually extremely accurate in a lot of ways. It's I played a lot of the silent hunter games. So it's, I guess it's quite seeable. You can see the influences from these games. And I also played...
even from the UI, you can kind of see some of the inspiration there.
Exactly. That I absolutely admit.
I think Silent Hunter has a fantastic UI, so I'm here for it.
It's a fantastic games, all of them. I played it so much, and I really love those games.
Yeah.
And but I also played quite a bit. The title also gives that away, of course. I played a lot of Destroyer Command, which was quite similar. It was connected to Silent Hunter II, I believe, the same engine, and they could play together.
Yeah, that's right.
And in this game, you were standing on the bridge of a destroyer, and it was also this kind of station-based simulator where you could jump into different stations and control the systems.
The cool part about that is, did you ever hunt other players in Destroyer Command? Because it was synced with Silent Hunter 2.
Yeah, no, I did not get to do that because I discovered the game quite late, unfortunately.
Okay, gotcha.
I think Silent Hunter 3 might already have been released actually when I played Destroyer Command.
I see.
So I missed that whole part. Very sad about that actually. But it was a great game, and that you had a little bit control over the other destroyers as well. Could move them around, and I can't remember if you could swap between the ships even.
Yeah, I don't know either.
No, a bit unsure. So yeah, these were games that I played a lot. But yeah, actually, when I started to build Battleship Command, it was not really to build a game. It was that I was trying to learn how to program, and had been doing that for a bit. And I was doing some. I like to play Arma 2 as well, and I started to make mods for Arma and script missions and these kind of things. So I was really fascinated about 3D graphics and that you could write code and make stuff happen in the 3D world. So I wanted to learn 3D programming, and for some reason I started with a cube that floated on some waterish looking thing with a few cylinders that could be aimed, and somehow my practice project for programming became a ship simulator.
Okay.
And I thought I really wanted to, it's also partly jealousy, because I played Silent Hunter and Destroyer Command, and all of a sudden came these giant battleships that could just blast anything to pieces. You were protecting your convoy from the U-boats in Destroyer Command and crossed all the Atlantic, and felt quite satisfied that you managed to save some of the convoy. And then all of a sudden comes these giant battleships out of nowhere. I don't know if it was Bismarck or what kind of ship it was I encountered, and they just came and totally slaughtered the whole convoy. And I guess I got a bit jealous as well, so I wanted to play battleships, but there was no real games to do that.
Which is, now that you mention it, is very surprising.
Yeah, right.
These ships are, everyone likes battleships, for the most part. They're cool, and I think choosing a German battleship makes for rather interesting gameplay, because like a U-boat, you have a similar difficulty curve. Although for a battleship, I guess it starts off pretty hard. You're still going up against the Royal Navy, so there is that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was one of the things that made me choose the Scharnhorst, because battleships are maybe hard to simulate in a way, that first of all, there's so many people on a battleship, so it's hard to simulate the systems maybe and make that into a usable game. It's maybe easier to have a more strategy type game with battleships, because many of the battleships in the Royal Navy, for example, they usually play the role to protect like certain areas and wait for the German Navy to come out and try to catch them, and not a lot happened maybe in a way. And it's also a lot of big fleet actions or protecting convoys and stuff, right? So it's not really as much as what the Germans were doing is trying to be offensive and find merchant ships. Exactly. So the Scharnhorst had a quite similar role to the U-boats, to sneak out and attack the supply lines of the British. It's it's a very interesting ship that it has. It has this thick armor and it's very fast, but the weapons are quite weak. So it gives it a quite special role in a way that you cannot really fight other battleships, and you will focus on fighting convoys and lighter ships. So I found that quite fascinating. I think that's why I chose the Scharnhorst, and also the ship had one of the most active stories of the battleships during the Second World War.
I mean, was she the most active German battleship of the war?
I would say so, yeah.
I'm trying to think, because it does seem like she got around.
Yeah.
And lasted quite a while.
Yeah, she did quite a lot of interesting things. There was some even shore bombardment and attacking convoys, and a few very small battles with other battleships, and sank the aircraft carrier, and
which is also I feel like not talked about very much. The sinking of HMS Glorious.
Exactly.
Are you also planning to model her sister ship? Are they much different from one another?
No, it's mostly visual, I think.
Okay.
She lacks that the big hangar, and one of the masts are in a different position. I think Gneiss now has the mast on the stack, and Scharnhorst has it further back. And otherwise, I don't think there's so much difference. Might be some anti-air armament that is slightly different.
Okay.
So not really.
And speaking of anti-air complement, did Scharnhorst's anti-air complement change much during the war? Is that something you've had to do research on? And also, what are the difficulties of modeling a ship that you can't actually visit?
Oh yeah, that's I've been sweating a lot. That's very difficult. So they did change the ship quite a bit over the years, and I haven't really researched exactly which anti-air guns they had at which years, but I'm thinking to make it a little bit modular, that the player will be able to upgrade over time, because I really like that thing about the Silent Hunter games, especially Silent Hunter 3, where you could change the term and or what is it called, the tower, change the guns. So I would really like to do something similar like that. We'll see how it goes when I start to work on the campaign, because it's more for a campaign thing, I think.
Okay.
That the ship can evolve. And about modeling these ships, it's really difficult. So the good thing, I can start with that first, is that there's a lot of plans actually. There's a German military archive that has a lot of the ship plans of these ships, so it's quite easy to make the external model. But then, since you will walk around in a first-person perspective to get all the little details correct, and especially the internals, there's so little photos of these ships. So I've had to do quite a lot of compromising and take inspiration from other ships. There's a few images from the Hipper class ship, for example, that the Americans took after they received the ship after the war ended, the Prince Eugen. So they took a lot of photos, and which you can study. And there's a few photos from the Bismarck, for example, and you have to use these pictures and try to puzzle together some sort of interior.
I see.
Because I really want to have some of the bridges, like the Admiral's Bridge and the Command Bridge. This I feel is very important to have in the game. But you have to do a lot of guesswork to make it look authentic. And then, thank goodness for all the American battleships that are museum ships, and all the, they are making a lot of videos of the ship. And unfortunately, I haven't managed to visit any of the ships yet in the US. But there you can learn a lot, from these ships and take inspiration. They're not so different after all.
Right.
Many of the concepts. So yeah, it's very difficult to to model a ship that is sunk. And all the documents you find, they are in German, and I don't understand any German really.
Yeah, okay.
So that's another problem. But Google helps, and all the translating software, it helps. So it's it's getting there.
Okay, very cool.
But it's difficult.
Yeah, I was just curious how difficult it has to be. I'm kind of surprised there's so few pictures of a lot of these areas on the ship.
Yeah.
But I think back, it's like a lot of Japanese aircraft references, for example. It's all American photos of the Japanese planes that were captured, not so much from the Japanese side. And I guess it's similar to a battleship that was never captured and was sunk. So
yeah. They probably, the Germans, they burnt a lot of the stuff, and Germany was in rubbles after the war, so
right.
So I can imagine a lot of documents disappeared.
That's nice. A lot of the ship plans survived. I guess that makes some of it easier. And I guess you have access to a lot of other German capital ship plans and stuff as well, or
yeah. This archive, the Bundesarchive, I think it's called. It's they have a lot actually that they have digitalized, so you can study other ships and try to get some general idea and try to
nice.
Puzzle together the puzzle pieces. I guess that's a lot of the work.
Well, hopping back to the game, what's the general gameplay loop going to look like? I know right now it kind of seems like you're going to have a lot of single missions. Is there? And you've mentioned a campaign, so is that going to be like a Silent Hunter-esque dynamic campaign later on, or what's kind of the plan there?
Yeah. So I used to say that in general there's two ways of playing the game, and one way is pure naval combat, that battleship against battleship or fleet against fleet, where it's just a quick scenario. Two fleets meet, fight until one of the fleets are sunk, and that's it, and this is a big part, and you will do that. There will be single missions that are focused around pure fighting, and there will be a quick scenario editor where you can drag in a few Bismarcks, a few Hipper classes, and some Deutschlands, and put them against a couple of King George V's and the Nelson or the Rodney, and create big battles that you these things we always dream about to set up,
Right.
So they can be fictional or historical or pretty much what you want, So pure naval combat, so that's one way of playing the game, fleet combat and naval combat, and the other way of playing the game is, what the Scharnhorst, what her role actually was, to sneak out into the Atlantic and find convoys and sink them and make it back home to port. More the Silent Hunter style gameplay. And more focus on not getting damaged and take care of your ship and survive to fight another day. And there will also be single missions that are a little bit focused on this, to head out and find a certain convoy and head back home. And there will be more patrol modes, which are quite similar to one Silent Hunter patrol in the campaign, that you start in a base, head out, sink as much as possible, and head back to base, which is more of a not dynamic but more random kind of mission. Mm-hmm. And then there is a campaign in the plans as well, and but it's still quite a lot in the planning stage, and the goal is to make it as dynamic as possible, but I can't really say much about it yet, except that
I see,
pretty Silent Hunter-ish.
It is something you want to do.
It's something I want to do, and it's more in the planning stages than than ready.
Okay. Yeah, because just looking at some of the screenshots, it does look like some of these missions will span multiple days in time, right? I mean, you start dockside in Trondheim, for example, and then sail out. So I think when people think single mission, they think it's going to be, maybe 30 minutes of gameplay, but some of these seem like they'll be much longer than that, right?
Yeah, you might have to to play a few days in game time.
Gotcha.
So there's time compression, and there's day and night circle, and weather is changing and all these things. So
okay, very cool. Yeah, and I was also surprised to see, ports in some of the screenshots as well.
Yeah, but they will be needed. That's for sure.
See, and speaking of more about the gameplay loop, you've mentioned stations like radar. What are some of the other controllable stations that are in the game? And also, is there going to be, what's crew management kind of going to look like? How granular is that going to be? Or is it just, you're the captain, other people kind of deal with the sleep schedules of your crew?
Yeah, so the main part, you walk around in a first-person perspective. And you can then, you have interfaces for managing or seeing the ships that the crew has spotted and sighted, and you have a panel for giving orders to your crew to attack certain ships, and you also have you can have other ships in your fleet as well, AI ships that you give orders to. So there's also an interface to manage your fleet and assign specific orders or rule of engagements to the other ships, and set up formations and these kind of things. So that's kind of the captain's station, we can call it that maybe.
Right.
And then you have all the systems that also have stations. So you have the main fire director station, which is actually 3 stations that you can swap between and control the various guns. So you can, with the station, you can control any of the main guns and the secondary batteries, and also fire star shells and these kind of things. And this is probably the station you will spend most time in. It's the one that I've spent most time on developing, because there's a stereoscopic rangefinder that is simulated, and the fire control computer. And then we have a fire director for the anti-air guns as well.
Okay.
Which is maybe lower fidelity on that one, but it's still quite a challenge to shoot down airplanes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then there is also a station for damage and system control, where you can get an overview over your engine systems and the hull, if there's any damage or floodings or these kind of things. And here you will also manage damage control teams. So currently I have there's a few teams for what are they called, pump teams, to pump out water from sections, and there's also a few firefighting teams.
Okay.
And they work autonomously. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, but automatically.
Yeah, so they'll kick into gear automatically.
And there's not really any micromanagement here, but you can give them priorities. Make sure that they always go for the magazines, for example. If there's a fire in the magazine, that's top priority. And you can also make them more. It's a little bit work in progress still, but you can change if there should be a lot of teams that are a little bit weaker, that spread out and take a lot of different fires, or you can mass them into one team that is more efficient and handle one specific fire, for example, or specific flooding.
So there is going to be some management with like the structure of your damage control teams on the captain's
exactly.
end. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm trying to avoid too much micromanagement.
I see.
That is more of a general thing, and as with every system in the game, my approach has been that you can take control if you want to, but you don't have to. The crew can manage everything pretty much.
Yeah, because I mean, you mentioned some of the AI controlling the guns and such. I mean, you can tell the AI to use this director and engage this ship, and the secondary director to take a different turret and engage a different ship. You don't have to do any of the actual gunnery yourself.
Exactly.
And I guess that leads me to what level of fidelity are you aiming for with Battleship Command? There's a lot of like simulator games which really focus on you being able to switch every button and you doing everything yourself. Of course, in this you are in command of a battleship, so the workload is kind of, you delegate it, right? I was wondering what's the kind of balance here, and I guess you've kind of already touched on this, but like with navigation and plotting contacts, for example, is that going to be something that is done by your crew, or is that something I'm going to have to figure out the angle on bow of this particular ship?
You will have to do all that stuff actually. So it's
okay.
It's actually, in a way, I've aimed to not strike any balance, but to have to have two extremes then, or because I want every button flippable and every little thing simulated and controllable, but everything should be manageable by the AI as well, so that you don't have to do anything. Because I'm thinking that I really enjoy playing just as a captain and giving orders, and
right.
But I wanted to be able to learn any of these systems and really try to get better than the crew, be more efficient. And I'm quite geeky. I guess I'm really fascinated about the boilers, how they worked, and these kind of things. So
yeah.
So I have the variables in, that you could control them if you want to. So yeah, I'm aiming for high fidelity and flipping every switch, and stereoscopic rangefinders simulated to the best way I could, because that stereoscopic rangefinder that the Germans used it's actually not really possible to simulate it on a computer screen.
How so? That's interesting.
Because they use some kind of, I almost do not understand how it worked. So you have this rangefinder, which is two optics that is quite far between each other. It's like it widens the
right
the distance between your eyes. So and then you can adjust these lenses that they focus on a target. And when you have focused on a target that is 10 kilometers away, it means that the lenses has certain angles, and that creates a triangle. So you have the base length of the rangefinder, that is the base of the triangle, and then the angle of the lenses will give you the
right.
Or then you can calculate the distance the distance to the target, and that's fine. That I understand, and that's pretty much how I have simulated it. That you have these two cameras that you angle.
Yeah, to try to get a clear picture.
Exactly, and then some trigonometry. Oh, me and my pronunciation again here.
Everyone knows what you mean,
right?
yeah, that's right.
So then you can get the distance to the target by simply focusing on the target. But then the Germans also had some kind of overlay inside the stereoscopic rangefinder. So there was a few triangles like directly on the lens with a certain distance, and apparently these triangles also could move. So the guy who used this one could switch focus between the triangles and the ship somehow, and this triangle, it looked like they were floating in the air then, and you could move this triangle that it looked like it was out there next to the ship. So it somehow used the brain and tricked the brain somehow, and I have a very hard time understanding how it could work. with those markings. So they totally confused me, those those markings that they had.
I see it. Yeah, that is interesting.
So it's that thing that I cannot really simulate, the way the eye switches focus between a blurry target and a clear target that is closer.
Right.
That is, quite impossible, or probably not impossible, but very difficult.
Yeah, on a 2D screen, like you can't do that.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Another question: a lot of people are eager to see other battleships added to the game. Are there any other ships you'd like to see included, or other surface raiders? Is that kind of future plans? Maybe DLC, or is that just too far out in the future to really say much on?
Yeah. So the short answer is that that's quite far out.
Yeah.
And it would be a post-release. And a little bit depends on the community as well, I imagine, what people like about the game and such. Because I've been working on this game for so long, and it's such a I love this project so much and love these ships. So I have no intention to stop working on this game in the foreseeable future. And personally, I would like to add heavy cruisers. I would like to have a lot of AI ships. No, sorry, what am I saying? Allied ships.
Okay.
To play the British ships and add on the American battleships. So I have a lot of ideas for expanding the game. But working alone on this project and the amount of time that it has taken to research the Scharnhorst, I felt that I had to decide on a scope. So I'm trying to be very strict on myself to not start adding other ships yet.
Yeah, avoiding like scope creep, right?
Right. Otherwise, I will never finish this game, or I will never finish this game, because I want to add the Bismarck playable as well, and the Nelson I want to play, the Warspite. I would love to play the Warspite, and there's a few American battleships that's on my high prior list to add as well that I would like to simulate.
Okay.
But yeah, I really need to release something soon here before expanding. So
and I did just think of this. This is kind of going back to previous stations and maybe friendly AI, but I know Scharnhorst did have a catapult.
Yep.
Is reconnaissance going to play a part?
Yes, absolutely. To some extent, at least, it might start out a little bit abstract. That you can use it on the map and give waypoints to the plane, and then we'll see how detailed I make it. If you also can follow it around in 3D or such, but we'll probably start more on an abstract level.
And then another station I thought of was Scharnhorst had torpedo tubes, right?
Yep.
So is that going to be a separate station, like how you control anti-aircraft guns, or is it kind of going to be integrated into that main fire control screen?
I'm aiming for a separate station for that. So,
okay.
And also, the radar was also a big thing. So there is a radar in the main fire control station for measuring distance to the target. But that one is locked on the range finder, so it aims where you are aiming pretty much. But the ship got equipped with quite a lot of different radars over the years, so that will also be a thing. There will be a station with the various radars that you have available. And this will maybe be semi-fictional as well. I'm not sure if the Scharnhorst actually ever got equipped with what was it called, the Berlin radar, I think, which is kind of a PPI type radar.
Okay.
So, but I have it simulated, so I'll probably put it in after some years or something like that, at a certain year.
Okay, yeah. Because that'd be pretty cool to actually just scan the radar myself.
Yeah,
even if it's not a PPI and easily readable.
It still played quite a big role, and the tactics as well to not use the radar too much, because you will get picked up by radar detectors on the British ships, for example.
Right.
So that's a system I want to work quite a lot on as well. The radar technologies.
Is there a potential for like random failures and stuff with some of that new equipment, or like Scharnhorst? You always hear stories of the battleship's main guns, disabling the radar during a fight.
Yeah.
Is stuff like that potentially something you'd like to see added, or again, trying to avoid scope creep? So
I'm thinking to add that actually.
Okay.
But I don't know to what degree yet.
I see.
The one thing that I definitely want to add is wear. That stuff gets damaged over time. It's called wear, right?
Yeah,
I think so. That the barrels, they only had a certain life length, like 300 shells they could fire, and then you had to replace them. So things like accuracy getting worse and worse over time. So it gets especially important during the campaign, where you have to plan when to change out the barrels or certain systems.
Yeah,
so,
only 300 shells. That seems low. That's rough.
They, from my playtests, those 300 shells per barrel, they go fast, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, logistically, switching out these barrels, do you know how long that actually took them to do in port?
No, I don't actually. And I haven't found any case where they actually did it on the Scharnhorst ships.
Okay.
So I don't know how many shells they actually fired. I have to look into the Royal Navy maybe, which was the ships lasted longer. So I have to check how often they did it.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, considering the German, logistics situation, by the time she may have fired 300 shells, they may have just dealt with the lower accuracy and potential risk there.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're kind of talking about this right after you announced a partnership and a trailer and all that good stuff with Microprose.
Yep.
Can you talk about how that came about at all, or it seems like a pretty good fit?
It's fantastic. It's the best news ever for me and Battleship Command, because you see the stuff they are working on. It's fantastic stuff. So you know what? I started Battleship Command a lot of years ago as a hobby project, and I showed it off a little bit in the Subsim forums. I think it was where I was most active, and the game looked terrible. It was my own game engine pretty much, and I was quite new in programming, so it was not a good game at all actually. But
you sent me a very early demo.
Yeah, right, I did.
I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
I messed around with it. I never ended up making a video on it, and I regret not doing it to this day.
That would have been funny now, I'll tell you.
Well.
So people seem to enjoy the concept and everything, and then one day, like 3 years ago or something, I got in contact with David Lagetti, the CEO of Microprose, and just very informal, and just had an opportunity to talk to him, and presented my game idea here, and we talked about it, and I got some great feedback, and he was quite interested, and that was it. We just talked about it a bit, and I got some confirmation that the project is interesting, and this, what a ego boost this was.
Yeah.
I got so extremely motivated, and this feedback was super good, and it was the bizarrest moment of my life probably, that I got to talk to him about it and got this feedback. So this kicked me in high gear. So I totally scrapped the project, got to Unity, started to learn Unity, and and started to rebuild the project from scratch with proper code and making it look much better and be more performant. So I worked on the game for a year until it started to look like something playable, and then I actually prepared a pitch deck and a presentation of the game, and then contacted Microprose and asked to pitch the game, and yeah, they liked it. So then we started a partnership, and it has brought the game to a whole another level. So it's really great, really great.
Yeah, because now you're able to kind of work on this full time, right?
Yeah, and I also get help with ship models and much of the 2D art as well, user interfaces and these kind of things.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw some of the Task Force Admiral folks helped you on some of the things. Is that right?
Yeah. It's totally amazing to get in contact with these guys and get their feedback and all the insight that they have. They're so nice guys and helps me a lot. So Risky is making ship models for Battleship Command.
Okay.
He's the modeler for Task Force Admiral, and also been getting a lot of feedback and tips and good ideas from the Admiral.
Sure.
Super nice guy, and helpful. Yeah. And also, I think I chatted with the whole team actually. Julien, who makes the art, he's given me some tips on how to, make textures for ships, and I also talked to JB about programming AI, and I'm so thankful to getting in touch with these guys.
Yeah.
And also, Nils from the Sea Power team. I talked a lot to him. He's also sharing a lot of insights and sharing things from his experience, and that stuff is worth gold.
Yeah, I mean, he made a whole game
essentially
based off this, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm extremely grateful for getting in touch with these and that they share so much knowledge as they do. It's very valuable. So that's a big part of the partnership that I get this possibility.
Oh yeah, that's great. I didn't realize that so much of the game had been rebuilt since the early days of kind of showing it off. Like what percentage of that old engine and game did you end up just completely scrapping and redoing, or did a lot of it actually carry over into Unity?
So actually scrapped everything.
Wow. Okay.
This was built in a different programming language even. It was written in it's an old language called Pascal, and it was I used some graphics library and not really a game engine, so I had to do quite a lot myself there. And this programming language I learned all by myself pretty much, just by reading some books. But then later I actually studied software development for real. But then you programmed web pages and back-end database stuff, and it was C# programming, and that's why I chose Unity, because in Unity you can program with C# compared to, for example, Unreal, where it's C++. So I knew properly, I was educated in programming in C#, so I scratched everything because it was so bad code actually. And totally rebuild it properly. So everything got scratched actually.
That's crazy. I would not have thought that. That's kind of amazing now.
That was a big project for sure. That's
yeah. And I mean, you said that took what, a couple of years to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I think 3 years I've been working now with Unity.
I see.
It takes time, when you do everything yourself, because you also had to. I'm not a naval historian really, and a big part of the game is research, naval history and how these ships worked.
Yeah, has the research aspect been more time consuming than you thought it would be?
No, I guess it's around the expectation that it takes a lot of time. Because I played a lot of the simulator games like the IIIL flight simulators and Silent Hunter games, and learning all that stuff, it takes a long time to understand the controls of an airplane and learn how to make the maneuvers and to control a U-boat. It's crazy to understand how to use the torpedo calculator and hit targets that are 10 kilometers away, or it's maybe shorter in the U-boat games now that I think about it. But it's a lot of research. I can imagine you also do a lot of research and know that it takes time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's always more time consuming than I thought, but I can't imagine the amount of digging to find information about Scharnhorst boilers, for example. That seems that seems pretty niche.
Yeah, it's quite nerdy. But that's how it is. It's fun, actually.
Is there any one fact about Scharnhorst that you've learned doing this that really surprised you, or
discovered quite late that the Gneiss now, so it was in port for repairs at some point, and they had plans to put on heavier guns on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the same caliber as the Bismarck with the 38 centimeter guns, and I think she was in port for damage to repair, and then they thought that they were going to switch out the guns at the same time when she's in repairs anyway.
Right.
So then they took out the 3 turrets, and they placed them as coastal battery in Norway. At least 2 of them, one in Bergen and one in Trondheim. I don't remember the third one where it ended up. And actually, one of these turrets are still standing in Trondheim. The one in Bergen they removed, scrapped, I guess, and the third one as well. So I actually went last year. I took a flight to Trondheim and went to visit the turret. So it's standing in a mountain. So they took the whole barbette with the rotating structure and the reloading structure, everything. So they pretty much took the whole barbette with the turret and placed it inside a mountain. And that's just amazing that it still stands there. So it's cool. It's kind of the only chance that still exists to actually go inside a German battleship.
Yeah.
Because it is the same barbette and reloading system. So that's quite. It still exists. It's very fascinating.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I actually had no idea that any of that was still around.
Well, how they got that, I don't understand. How they managed to get the whole turret and into a mountain, I think they rebuilt it level by level, but I don't remember. So it's like six levels in the barbette down into the mountain. So it was very impressive to be there, actually, and climb around inside the barbette. It was fun. They are huge.
If I'm ever up there, I'll have to go see that, because I've been on some American battleships and such and been in there, and it's always impressive to see, but that is a pretty nifty artifact and definitely one of a kind right now, now.
Yeah, I cannot wait to visit the US and visit some of these battleships.
Yeah, you gotta come over here. We have quite a few.
Yeah. I've been looking a lot at them.
Yeah, no, it's always a good time. They're quite fascinating.
Indeed.
So on Steam, it does say releasing soon. I'm sure I already know the answer to this, but I gotta ask: is there anything you can share regarding a release date? And is the plan to release into early access? Also, I'm gonna throw in: is multiplayer even planned into this one?
Yeah. So the release and how we will release it is actually not totally decided yet. So I better not say anything about it. to be on the safe side.
Fair. I expected that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite early still here with the announcement and everything. So, but it will come as soon as we are totally clear about things, you know. Multiplayer. Yeah, you know, it's another one of those things. I would love it, and I think the game is quite suited for it actually, both in a way to share one battleship and walk around on it, and also play cooperative with the ship each, you know, and travel together. And of course, it would be fun to play against your friend as well, and shoot at each other from 20 kilometers away. So I would really like it, but it's quite a big thing to work with multiplayer, and since the whole concept is, you know, I haven't found any battleship simulator that functions in the same way as my idea for Battleship Command. So it's a little bit untested, you know, how it will work and what people will enjoy doing. So I thought I will have to wait with multiplayer until I see how it turns out, you know, and see what people enjoy. If maybe people want more systems simulated and in more depth, more in depth and everything, and then maybe it's more suitable to make multiplayer where you play on the same ship, and that we can make the ship even higher fidelity, or maybe people prefer the whole captain role, that you more give orders to your crew, and then maybe it's more suitable to have a co-op style where you have a ship each with less fidelity. So I think it's a good idea to wait a bit and see how it turns out before I add in some multiplayer.
Yeah, I figured I'd add, like you said, it does seem pretty. It does seem like a good game for it because you are, you know, controlling different stations, kind of like Wolfpack or, you know, Star Trek Bridge Crew or something like that. But totally understand that's a pretty big ask.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a big thing to implement, I think. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, in my video, where I kind of showed off the trailer and everything, and this announcement, there was a very heated discussion in the comment section regarding whether Scharnhorst was a battleship or a battle cruiser. Now, the game is named Battleship Command, so I think I already know your answer. But which was it? You know, let's hear from the expert.
Yeah, it is a tough question. You know, for me it is a battleship. And,
yeah, me too. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it so everyone knows my opinion.
I understand the discussion in a way. You know, when I started building the game, I looked for a battleship. You Google battleship, German battleships, and you get the Scharnhorst. Everyone calls it a battleship. You know, all the books that I've seen, and Jane's fighting ships, and it's a battleship. But there is that fact that it seems the British thought it was a battle cruiser initially because of the weak guns. But then I heard that they changed their mind later when they knew more about the ship, like how heavy armor she had and everything. But it's still a strange ship, you know, because back in those days they had those limitations on you could not build a endlessly big battleship. There was always either a treaty that the
Washington Naval Treaty,
exactly, or you know your dockyards could not handle bigger ships, or you had a Panama Canal or some kind of limit, right? So building these ships was quite a balancing act. You had the concept of a battleship. I guess it's extremely simple. Take as big guns as possible and make them float out into the ocean, and you know be able to take quite some punishment as well. The most important thing is to keep the guns firing as long as possible. So you know, firepower and armor, that was the main thing. Speed, now that we don't need, you know. And then they a little bit for battle cruisers, they a little bit changed the priority. So they thought, nah, here we need speed. So let's skip the armor and bring the big guns, but bring them fast. So then you have firepower and speed instead. And then comes the Scharnhorst, which has you know, the other other priorities. So you get speed and you get armor, but instead the guns are compromised because they're quite weak. So what should you call that? You know?
Yeah.
It's but since we don't have a term for that, then I would say Battleship. Absolutely.
Yeah, a Battleship works for me.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you touched on this as well. Plans to switch out the guns, that just never ended up happening. But yeah, I mean, that's all. It seems like a lot of the speculation the debate comes from the British calling it a battlecruiser initially.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Which, I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't know, but I'm surprised we're still having this debate, frankly, online. But any other thoughts you'd like to add about Battleship? Anything you wanted to share before we wrap it up?
I guess I would want to take the chance to say thanks to all the feedback that I've been getting and to all the communities around these games, because working on the game alone, you get quite narrow-minded, and I really love to discuss the history around these ships and discuss the development, and since it's I'm trying to come up with a good concept of the game. So I really appreciate the feedback from people when they write on the Steam forums or the Discord forums or even the YouTube. I try to respond on everything, and I really love to have a discussion about the game and the ship and the history. So big thanks for that. That's I guess what I would like to say.
Yeah, great. I will say it is. I wanted to touch on this earlier, but it is. I had no idea about your modding background, and I just love the journey from modder to game developer. I think that's pretty great and kind of awesome. So, and I'm very excited for the game as a whole, obviously.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the interview. If you have nothing else to add, I guess we'll end it here.
Yeah, thank you, Wolfpack.
Well, folks, that is going to do it for today's video. I wanted to thank Bracer once again for coming on and agreeing to do this interview, and I hope you all enjoyed it, despite the fact that I am not the best interviewer. Anyway, folks, thank you all for watching. This is Wolfpack345 signing off, and I will see you all on the next one.